What's happening, sports fans? We
That was
continue
good.
to, what's good, man? What's good? As Blake Erlbeck dips to black real quick there. We continue our top recruit tour around San Diego. And yes, it's another chance for me to show off my blatant homerism. This is my platform, and I get to cheer specifically for the schools that I want to cheer for because I went there and I have a diehard passion for it. So yes, go Syracuse. This is a big deal. The guy in that little corner right now, his name is Blake Erlbeck. He plays at Torrey Pines. He's going to play at Syracuse, a.k.a. the greatest school in the country for this
Oh yeah.
sport. Hands down, bar none. We invented, Central Upstate New York invented this game. That's how good this school is. Thank you so much for joining us, man. Let's start with that decision to go to Syracuse. What was that like for you?
Well, it was a long process. It started when I was in middle school, going back playing in all those like big East Coast tournaments, and I don't know. I was always like kind of like really interested in those like big like top 10 like college team like Hopkins, Maryland, and all those schools because growing up I always just worshipped those college lacrosse players because they were gods. And when I first visited Syracuse, the campus really kind of like brought like my attention to my eyes. I was just caught right away that I really wanted to go to Syracuse. And just like the whole just culture of like the Syracuse lacrosse team, it just seemed so cool and like so special to be a part of. And that's just something that I just can't wait to look forward to when I'm up there.
So Syracuse lacrosse, obviously, I am somewhat hyperbolic. The Onondaga Reservation is right next door. So, yeah, we're really close to the actual birthplace of lacrosse.
Yeah.
But Coach Desko, it's not hyperbolic to say that he is one of the all-time winningest coaches in the history of the sport. What's it like getting recruited and getting to interact with a guy like that?
Well, not gonna lie, it's a little scary because he's not the super most talkative person. So when I like first met him, definitely a little bit quiet. So it was definitely a little intimidating to me. But I mean, it's just the fact that he's even giving me a like a good coach, and he just wants to help people and just get people to be better lacrosse players.
So tell us about getting the actual offer and that experience for you.
I mean, it was like definitely really exciting because like I've been like working like so hard for that, and like I remember when I like was first when I was there, like I visited a couple other schools before going up there, so I kind of had like an idea of like what they were like. So, but when I was like there, I remember like being like in his office and stuff, and he was like telling me how he wanted to like give me an offer and stuff. I mean, right then and there, I kind of knew that I was gonna take it, but like of course, they didn't let me take it the second I was there because they knew obviously I was a little excited and wanted me to cool down a little bit. But it was definitely a great moment for me. I was very excited for it.
I think that everybody obviously would want to jump at that opportunity right away, and I can only picture you being like, yeah. Oh no, totally. I have to go home and weigh this decision out. Yes. Oh, I'm going to think about this for forever. Yes. I will take. That had to have been a pretty cool moment. It's a big change of life, though. It's a small town. It's in it playing in a dome. It's snowy. Basically everything about this environment is going to be different other than the excellence of the lacrosse that you've been around with the Torrey Pines to Syracuse transition. Are you ready for the change of life?
Yes, I am very ready. So like I was like held back in eighth grade, so like I've always been like older and stuff. So last year, like kind of watching my friends like go away to college and stuff, and then come back to high school, it was kind of like it gave me like an extra year to like grow and mature more so I could be more ready for college. But I think just waiting a whole another extra year while my friends were in college really just allowed me to mature more and just grow up more. So now I think I'm gonna be ready for all the hard things that come to my play and the hard challenges I have to face.
Okay, so you mentioned that you have been back there for recruiting trips. You and I had talked before we got on air that you have some family members back there, so you visited New York State several times, I take it.
Yes.
Okay, so help us understand this. The pizza and the bagels are genuinely better there, correct?
100% way better.
Like do you like it? But like, it's hard to put into words exactly what I'm trying to get at. But it's weird how something like pizza cannot be universal, but can be a change and a startling revelation in life where you're like, man, it's actually worth it's worth getting pizza over there. It's that much better.
Yeah, it's weird. You go to some like weird janky pizza place, and you're like, oh, this place doesn't look that good, and then you eat it, and you're just like, this is way better than any pizza place I've ever been to in San Diego.
So then help us build the ideal pizza. What is your optimal perfect pizza?
Sorry, you lagged there.
Can you hear me again?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, so what is your optimal perfect pizza? Design the perfect pizza for us.
Oh, I don't know if you'll like the way I design this pizza. I'm a pretty plain guy, but I would just have to say just a pepperoni pizza, just casual.
Now, what kind of crust are we talking about? Thin and crispy, nice and big, garlic on the crust?
Big. I like the doughy crust.
Doughy crust, cheese, pep. It's all about the quality ingredients, and I'm sure that he'll come back with plenty of stories. Talk about your experience at Torrey Pines, because you guys are around some pretty insane competition all the time. You're one of the few teams that takes an out-of-state road trip in terms of high school sports here in San Diego. We talked to one of your teammates, Tegan Boltman, earlier this week, and he kind of talked about it a little bit. But from your take, what has life on the inside been like for Torrey Pines lacrosse?
I mean, it's just so much more than just lacrosse. It's just like we have like alumni that like come talk to us like basically like every year, and they'll like come sit in the team room. And literally year after year, I've heard these alumni come in, different ones, and they always say the same thing, that no other program is like Torrey Pines lacrosse. Like, you will not make like the same like friendships that you've like overcome, like become friends with and stuff like on the lacrosse team. Like, it's like crazy. Like, I've really been like watching the Torrey Pines lacrosse kids like play like ever since I was in 4th grade. Like, I was lucky enough to have like John was my PE coach, so he like kind of always showed us the way, TV lacrosse. So like me and my buddies like Porter and Miles, we would always go ball boy at the Torrey lacrosse games when we were like in middle school. I've always been like around the culture, and ever since I was a little kid, I just knew that was gonna be me when I was older, and I've always just lived up to that Torrey culture, and I've always loved it.
What's life on the inside like during the LCC rivalry?
It's definitely intense. I mean, Z is he's something. He loves it. He's a diehard for Torrey lacrosse. He breathes only Torrey lacrosse, I feel like. So like practices are just, everyone just knows the standard that everyone just needs to be going 120%, quiet the whole time in line drills, just no talking about other stuff, just getting focused for the big game.
We've been talking on social media this week about some of the best uniforms in San Diego. We're making our way around all the different sports. Haven't gotten to lacrosse yet. Of your different uniforms that you guys have, which one would you want to nominate as your favorite?
I would have to say I like the all-white one a lot, and I like the cardinal red ones. I would have to say the cardinal red ones are my favorite, though, just because I like red a lot. It's my favorite color.
So the cardinal red with the silver helmet, or what's the look on top?
Silver helmet, yes.
Yeah, because you guys have a couple of different you have one of the black looks, you have one of the red, you have one of the white, you have a couple of different cool looks. Are you ready to swap that all in though for some orange and some blue?
Yes, I can't wait. I love the orange. I love the color.
And I guess
all the Nike stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing right there is that.
Yeah, that's a big takeaway right there.
And I'll say this. This is kind of getting into the weeds of we probably lose the people that aren't going to actually play in Division I sports, but the difference between committing to like an Under Armour school and an Adidas school and a Nike school can actually be a very real, tangible decision. Because there's nothing more heartbreaking than thinking you're going somewhere and then winding up not getting the cool gear that you wanted because you just don't quite fit into whatever that brand is. So definitely a good choice there. With Syracuse. What have you been doing with your downtime, man? Are you a Netflix guy? Are you a video games guy? What have you been filling your hours with?
I'm big both, honestly. I watch Netflix, play a lot of Xbox. I've been trying to hit the wall a lot, trying to at least shoot outside too.
So give us some Netflix suggestions and what video games you've been playing.
Parks and Recreation. I just started that it's so good. It's so funny. I started like 2 days ago. I love The Office.
First time watching Parks and Rec through for you, or have you watched it before?
No, it's my first time. Like it's amazing. Like it's so like the past 2 days like have been actually good because I've been watching that show. So it's kept
So
me busy,
jealous of
but
you. So jealous
yeah,
of you.
in a
Here,
couple days when I finish it off, I'm gonna be pretty bored. But
well, okay, but then we have to do a follow-up podcast then in a couple of days when you have
yeah,
finished it so we can share notes on our passion now for one of the
yes.
better comedies of the last couple of years in Parks and Rec.
um,
What video games have you been playing?
yeah, it's great. But I'm a big Call of Duty guy too, so I play that a lot.
Now, are you willing to share the gamer tag and invite all of the smoke?
Zerby Flexin, XURB Flexin.
XURB Flexin. Any story funny behind that, or is it just kind of a random assortment of stuff?
It's from a game Destiny. So like I played Destiny like for like probably 5 years. I was a big Destiny guy. It's like kind of like Halo.
Okay,
It's
so
like
I
the same
played the
crazy.
very first one.
Yes, yeah, they made a Destiny 2. So I played throughout Destiny 1 and Destiny 2.
Is Zur in the first one, or is that a
Yeah,
second?
he is. He's the dude that like sells exotics. I don't know if you
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's coming back.
Yeah.
It came out right as the time that I needed to play video games in grad school when the
Yes.
winter hit in Syracuse.
Yeah.
That first winter that hit, when I looked outside, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get good. I guess I was already good at social distancing. That's what winter does for you in the Northeast.
Exactly.
So it's good that you're willing to put in the time on that. So hit up Zerby Flexin. Is it Xbox?
It is Xbox.
Okay, so you're exclusively an Xbox guy. It's too bad that there's no Lacrosse video game. That would be a fun one to get figured out. Maybe a VR version of it would be a fun one.
That would be better if they had a VR version on. That would be sick, actually.
Now, this kind of segues into it to a little bit of a rough transition, but if you had the chance to be VR, you could play from any position, which makes me think about goalies. And I asked this to all the lacrosse people I talk to because I'm trying to get a running poll. Are lacrosse goalies mentally unstable?
They're definitely more the more of the interesting people on the team, I would say.
But you got to be a little bit crazy, right, to voluntarily want a ball shot at you 100 miles an hour?
I would say so, yes. They're by far the most interesting player on the lacrosse team, by far.
Yeah, and I think you're saying it very delicately, putting it that they're the most interesting. But yeah, you got to have a little bit of a screw loose to do that with no padding and just be like, yeah, let's tap the stick, let's go.
Yeah, you couldn't pay me to step in that goal.
No. So you've never played goalie?
Well, I mean, no.
Not in a serious setting.
Yeah.
So then if there was a VR version of the game, would you play goalie, or would you still be kind of like flinching a little bit?
No,
and be like,
I would, because goalie's fun. It's just getting hit with the ball is the bad part.
Okay, so you would play the VR version of it. You would deal. I'm glad to know where the line stands is when it's an actual real dangerous projectile. Man, I hate to ask this question, but I have to ask this question. I know you talked a little bit about your message to the friends, but if we are done with lacrosse or spring sports and everything, is doesn't come back, what do you think you're going to miss about Torrey Pines?
I'm just gonna miss about all the practices with all my best friends, just being out there every school day, just out there till 10 o'clock at night, just grinding hard with all my boys. But yeah, it's gonna be a bummer if that actually happens. So I hope that doesn't happen. But
yeah, no, I'm completely with you on that. I'm sending positive vibes. I hope everybody stays at home for the next couple of weeks and watches all of Parks and Rec and stuff like that, so that everyone can get their high school seasons back. But I just wanted to give everybody an opportunity to leave a little message for their community. We thank you so much for being on with us, Blake. It is amazing to get to talk to high school athletes like this that are going on to the next level and representing San Diego. Everyone get in on the bandwagon while you still can. I'm sure that he will welcome all of the Syracuse orange being worn out here in support of him while he's back east. Thank you so much for being on with us, man. You have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you after you're done with Parks and Rec.
Thank you.